Y'all ready for it? Let's go. Coming in so hard on the beat like Bow Wow cornrows wanna be Mike. Laced up to the top, about to take flight. Meet me at the rim? Yes, I keep it going. Yeah, I'm flowing like a prophet. I am chosen to fix this world that is broken. Here's a lesson, better noted. We all try to be civil. Hashtag shut up and dribble. Pledge allegiance to the flag while they emptied out the mag. Take a knee for the politics. Got them on the knees now, just suck it. Whoa, no homo. Don't choke, get it right, Tony Romo. Yeah, that was kinda raw, wasn't it? Finesse words all day for the fun of it. Nowadays, no one cares cause a man can't say and get away with no punishment. But don't sit well with me. I lost change, but it's still incomplete. Gotta be more radical than Malcolm. Xing out all possible outcomes. Trump sparking, school's marksman. Got wall fires that's sparking. Can't forget kids are starving, but they the only folks marching. How much longer will this linger? Stacking problems like Jenga. Issues piss life with stingers. And I'm out, 2 fingers. Everybody, welcome back to another episode of the 2 Fingers Podcast. We have a special feature for you all today. Something that I've been looking forward to for a little while now. As some of you guys know, I'm a family guy with, many overlooking families and whatnot. And with me today, of course, is my co-host, my sister Saran. And for the first time in podcast history, the queen herself, the queen bee, my mother, she has finally come on and participated in the episode with us. So we're really excited with that. And last but not least, I have, some extended family. I have 2 younger sisters that have decided to join us in on this conversation today. All right. With me is Taylor Thrasher Walker and Erica Michael. Everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey.
Hey, now.
What's up? Hi.
Awesome. So as you can see, this is nothing but Black beauty, Black excellence. A lot of young Black women. My mother going on 35. Just beautiful Black women in the show today. So we're going to have a good time. We're going to talk, kind of grow, speak on some things. I have, again, the different age brackets and stuff right here just to discuss different perspectives and point of views today. So you won't be hearing too much from me today. I'll just pretty much be emceeing and setting the table, and I'll let these lovely ladies do all the talking and carry the show for me. All right. So with some of you guys have read the episode today, this is a big topic pretty much amongst societies and communities nowadays, and especially amongst our community, the Black community for sure. But I figured, seeing that the Black woman has a lot of things that are tailored towards her and, taken from her and, discriminated against and have a lot of disadvantages against them in the world, yet they always find a way to strive and reach way past excellence. I figured we'd talk about this today. So who wants to take the first crack at, their ideas or their perspective on what appropriation means to them? I think actually, hold on, I'll help y'all out. Since my mother's joining, she's the rock of the household. Mom, what is your perspective of appropriation to you?
Well, since you've given me this opportunity, first and foremost, I guess I'll take a step, back a few generations. We've often talked about how in our culture, appropriation has happened. We can go all the way back, and I'm going to use an example myself. I'm going to take like a person like a Little Richie. He's always claimed that he started a lot of the rock and roll and etc. And he's also claimed that oftentimes, Little Richard himself being Black, of course, I'm sure you all know that, but just in case, it was often said that another white person and might have stolen his moves, his sound, and then they became rich off of that. So I will go with the cultural one right now and talk and just focus on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. That's a good start. Way to open it up. Definitely a good history lesson. For some of you guys who don't know, please look into Little Richard, a legend at his craft as well. Since we have a fellow co-host, Saran, go ahead. You're familiar with the mic on this show. What's your take on this?
I think a general definition of appropriation would be just basically taking one culture's looks or sound, as my mom was saying with music, and kind of gaining more following or like more clout from it when it's in the original setting. Like for example, we'll do like braids, black women in braids. You know, usually it's a lot of negativity that comes with black girls with braids and like the workplace, the Crown Act, all that. But then we have like Kim Kardashian and then we'll wear braids and all of a sudden it's like, oh, so stylish, so chic. So it's kind of just like it's a negative connotation when it's on the original creator, but
Hmm.
then someone
Yeah.
with more clout or different skin tone, different, just that's more of the like American beauty standard, I would say, does it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this new hot thing. And it's like, we've been doing that. It's kind of crazy. So that's kind of what appropriation is.
Okay.
I
All
like
right.
I agree with
Go ahead.
Saran. I'm sorry. Yeah, I agree with Saran. Like my idea of what appropriation is kind of very similar to hers. Like using another like race, culture. I would say like using another like racist culture and gaining, like she said, clout or like or it being monetized. Like for example, with
Mm,
the Shea Moisture um ads. So basically they're like a natural hairline, and for a long time it was a lot of like 4C users and just people with tighter textures and things like that, but then they'll use somebody who's like has wavy hair or like Hispanic
Mm-hmm.
to support um their business, when really the real customers are, you know, the black girls with the tight curly hair and that type of thing. So just like it's kind of, I don't, it's hard for me to say stealing because you never know people's true intention. I think that's where it goes in with like the line
mm,
between
mm,
appreciation and appropriation, but
Mm-hmm.
using like other cultures things and gaining from it, it's just really hard with intention to know.
for sure, for sure. Eric, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, going off of what Taylor just said, I was literally thinking like appropriation to me can be either a positive or a negative thing, but like positively would go along the lines of appreciation. Like I believe it all goes with like if the person knows the history behind what they are appropriating.
And
Mm.
not trying to claim to be like the original, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
Right.
showing appreciation and showing like a respect for, you know, this is not my culture. I did get this from this, but I do like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And I think to me, what I think on that, and I'll kind of give you guys a definition that I've kind of leaned on and found, and you guys actually kind of tapped on it, but you know, appreciating is, understanding. And Erica, you hit it on the nail, right? Like understanding the history, the community, the connection, learning more about what goes on in that cultural aspect. Whereas, appropriation is more of an individual or a person's choice to be influenced by, popular media. Saran, you talked on Kim Kardashian, right? So like it's being influenced by those you see on media and stuff like that, and whether that's for clout or monetary gain, that's how you kind of differentiate those. So with that in mind, so we got a little bit of understanding of the appropriation. So how do we differentiate and start to look at things more as an appreciative mindset?
Well, as the girls were saying, it's all tying into itself. As they say, okay, we've always, I'm going to try to hit each one. We've always appreciated our cornrows or the way we've done our hair. We've always appreciated our products that we've used on our hair as well. We've always appreciated our music that we've done, whether it be dance or whether whatever it is. We've always had an appreciation for all of those things across our culture, because it kind of seems, well, like I said, I was kind of sticking to the culture part of it. So we've always appreciated all the different things that we've named here tonight. And so that's the appreciation for it from the beginning, and which is why I'm pretty sure it's always appropriated, because it's something that has been appreciated but not necessarily always, as they said, recognized in a positive manner. But we've always appreciated or that particular culture, I believe.
Yeah. Anyone else got an idea on
I
appreciating?
I think it's just hard because, you know, it just like the history of America versus like what we want America to be. So it just
Uh,
kind of depends on like how you look at it, because it's like we should all be, we're the mixing pot. So it's like we should all be sharing cultures, and like
Mm-hmm.
if you want to, you know, not take, but if you want to like take on the style of someone else, or like do your hair a certain way, it's really nobody's business how you decide to do that. And I feel like it shouldn't be like such a huge deal. I guess the only problem is when they try to say like they're the originate, like I created
Yeah.
cornrows, like with the
Yes.
Kardashians, like Kylie Jenner was the first person to do cornrows. Like, girl, no, you weren't. Like, you know what I mean? But I think it's okay for, if the white girl wants to have purple braids in her hair, then if she gets more love, that's okay. That's society, but I don't think she's necessarily doing something wrong. You know what I mean?
so yeah, that's a good point. So I guess my next thing onto that, you talking about the melting pot, has the idea of appropriation kind of shifted to solely a black thing? Like, and I think this is where, the word appropriation is huge, especially here in America, as we as black people seem to throw that word out because we believe that that everyone appropriated or stole something from us. And historically that's true, but is it only a black thing, or do, black people and other races steal from other races? Do they do things like that?
It's not just a black
Definitely.
thing.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
not.
Definitely.
Definitely not.
because for example, I just learned about this the other day. There's a difference between hair sticks and chopsticks. So
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm,
Asian culture, and even with
that's the
Chinese
one.
slippers, I grew up getting Chinese slippers at the local supply store and wore those all the time. But coming from the outside in, it may seem like I'm appropriating, I guess, the Chinese culture, but it
Mhm.
was just something I grew up with and going to get them at the store because I thought they were cute. And I got every pair to match my outfits. So it's not just a black thing.
And I
Definitely
think,
not.
yeah, I think that was pretty cool that you hit on that because, Taylor, for you, um, Tyler is huge on anime and kimonos, right? Like he
Yes, yes.
lives that life. And anyone who could walk out, and Tyler's her brother, by the way, and for the listeners listening, but anyone to see him walk out the house, and if he was to go to, an atmosphere of people who wear kimonos and watch anime, they'd be like, oh, this guy's he's just doing this. But do you think that other cultures are a little bit more accepting of other people using their things than black people, or do you think
Well,
they
I
feel just as, fueled as we do?
well, I
I
think like
oh, sorry, you were asking Taylor. Yes.
sorry. Well, I think like especially with the kimono thing and just anime culture in general, like it goes back to what I was saying about understanding. I am appreciating like this culture. Like with Tyler, he likes anime. He appreciates like, the Japanese, Korean, whatever, animation. So he likes to wear that type of stuff, but it goes back to, oh, I'm the first person to rock kimonos like this, or this is my swag, this is my style, and not knowing like this came from this region, this culture, type thing. And yeah. And I don't know if I feel like other cultures feel it the exact same way we do, just because I don't know if they've gotten the hate to the same extent as Black people
Yes.
have.
I was
You know
gonna
what I
say
mean?
that because I was
So
like, I
I
think the difference, sorry, Taylor, but I had to
no,
jump
you're
on
good.
that with you right there.
No, no,
I
yeah.
think the difference is like the things that black culture that are getting taken from black culture on black people, it's viewed negatively. But like when you see an Asian person with their hair sticks and like nobody like it's not a negative like they can't it's not like they can't go to work with that hairstyle. Like that's not part of the Crown Act or like with their kimonos on, it's not viewed as like black people wearing like baggy outfits, but now it's called streetwear. You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
like the appropriation in the black culture is more viewed negatively in society. So that's why it's like now it's cool when you do it, but when I do it, I'm ghetto. Like it's that
Mhm.
type of thing.
And I
And
think
I
I
think
think go ahead, Taylor.
that even goes back to, a lot of people will bring up, well, Black women wear weaves and things like that, but when our hair was natural for a long time, that stopped opportunities. It's like we were
Mm-hmm.
forced to almost I don't want to say conform, but to change so that we could live, so that we could get ahead and do things. For a lot of other cultures, that's not the problem. They're not faced with that. They're not gonna not get this interview, not get that job, not get this opportunity, or not be treated fairly because of their look in particular. I mean, some yes, but not to the extent I feel as someone who's Black.
But I believe you're correct in using the word conform because you're absolutely right. That is what had to happen most often. Like I think I heard Saran say something about the Crown Act.
Mhm.
Well, why did they have to put that in place? Why couldn't I just walk in with my afro or
Mhm.
with my really, really 4C tight curls? No, and as you stated, I wasn't going to get that position unless I permed my hair and it was straight and it looked more to what they viewed as social acceptance.
Mm.
So that's you all are definitely right in how things have shaped, how these two words have shaped our being. And this, like I said, I think that's why I said I wanted to kind of step back into the generations because you guys just hit on everything that had gone on from back then. We had to conform, um, again using as a culture, but there's definitely appreciation too, as far as, like, I like that example that Erica used about the Chinese slipper. Those Chinese slippers were viewed as beautiful. Oh man, I can remember those, all different colors and little flats. They were comfy for everything, and they were viewed as beautiful. The chopsticks in the hair, when their hair is up and they're made up in their kimonos and their beautiful dress, that's considered beautiful without a doubt. No one had to put something specific in place. There was no, oh, we need
Mhm.
this act to say that they can do this or they can wear that. No, it was just simply viewed as their beautiful culture that we're having an
Mhm.
opportunity to see.
So, Mom, speaking, and you touched on generations. I kind of want to direct this kind of question towards you because you've seen a lot, you've traveled, you have children of, have grown up through the age as you've grown up yourself. So, for you, when you look back through the generations and you view different job types and different industries, you were military and very high ranked. Do certain jobs, make you, is it is it uniform to be a certain way at certain jobs as it is now where it's a little bit more lenient where you can rock different crown and different hair? Or do you think certain industries, certain jobs actually remain the same throughout?
Well, no, I do think there's been a lot of change, as just stated, from coming from, and speaking of, like, I'm not really that old, but yes, but definitely, yes, from the time I did come in, there were some differences in certain things and certain uniforms and the way it had to be worn, a certain way your hair had to be worn. And I think pretty much the hair still, some of the regulations may still be the same, but there has been a change as to how you can wear your hair, because I do know now, you know, we are wearing cornrows in uniform. The female
Mhm.
woman is wearing cornrows in her, military uniform. And as traveling around the world, I mean, yeah, it's just a big difference. But we've come a long ways and things have changed a lot. And I will say for the good, because again, everything now, we are coming into an appreciation for a lot
Yes.
of the.
So with I think one of the biggest things that deals with appropriation is media in a sense, right? And at one point, I think one of the biggest things to speak on is the music industry, right? And hip hop and R&B culture is, especially hip hop, is definitely probably transcended to not only different levels but different ethnicities where a lot of things are being influenced by Afrobeat has hip hop in it, pop has some hip hop in it, like there's different people and that's reaching different mainstream audiences. Beyonce just dropped the album that's probably been, I would say, to me personally, her most mainstream style album
Yeah.
to reach as many people as possible. So with that being said, do you guys view, you know, when other ethnicities and other races want to start rapping and being involved in that area and want to kind of dress kind of the ways they see their favorite rappers, hip hop artists dressing. Um, is that's kind of leaning more towards the idea of appreciation of the art, right?
I think so for sure. Like, especially if they feel like that style or that, way or that swag embodies their personality the most. Like, who are we to tell somebody what they connect with, especially when it comes to art and dressing and everything. If they want to be a rapper, they want to wear their hair in cornrows, they want to, wear the urban or the streetwear or whatever because they feel they connect to that the most, then I think that's for sure like fine and appreciation. It really just goes back to what we were saying before. Don't act like you started it and know that like this did come from, you know, African Americans and things like that. But I feel like that's fine.
Yeah, I agree with Taylor because like music is the universal language. So if that's how you're able to get other people around the world to connect with like something that I guess is deemed African American music, then I feel like that is a good thing.
Yeah.
I
And I think
agree.
it helps like people get more exposed to everything and I don't know, it bonds people.
And I think that's
Definitely,
actually kind of, go ahead, Mom.
definitely with the music, because like you just said, and the young ladies just said that how it make people bond a way of communication because the music that is being played around the world most often, and I'm just going to use this as another example, they're singing songs and they're rapping in English and they don't necessarily speak the language at all.
Mm,
Hmm.
So
yeah.
so now that you have um, the other like other cultures coming in, now you go as far as having other cultures coming in, doing rap, singing rap as well. It's just not American. They're coming in, they're singing rap or whatever other songs, and as you stated, how I've traveled, I've gone to some places definitely in Asia, and I've listened to those folks sing, and boy, they sound most times often better than the artists themselves, but they may not
Mm.
necessarily speak the language, but they're communicating to their fans and to their culture. So, yeah, it's definitely a universal language, and it's a great thing. So, I'm not sure that I feel like that's appropriation because I think more of appreciation because I think they're just appreciating the music and the sounds, the beat, how it makes them feel, and how they communicate with with their culture and the rest of the world. So to me, that's a big appreciation because as Taylor said earlier, they're not walking around saying, "Hey, I started this." They might be the first group in their country per se that might have done it, but they didn't start it, and that's not what they're saying. It's just a big appreciation.
And I think that's pretty cool because a lot of times, when you hear those, first of all, I've heard those same, whether you see it on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, the people over in Asia who sing a lot of times sound better than a lot of our choirs over here, and it's
Yeah.
amazing how they're able to do things like that. But a lot of times, a lot of other countries say that's how they learn to speak English, is listening to music like that and rap. And some hip hop artists have said when they've gone on tour that they were the reason they learned how to speak English, and so there's an appreciation there as well. But I guess to kind of go on to that, so how what if there's like a lack of knowledge, right? Like what if your exposure to this in your country, right, and not many people know of it, and then you start utilizing that and whatnot, is it still appropriation even though there's a lack of knowledge? You might not know it, you might have heard someone else do it, but you're thinking that you were slightly influenced, but do you believe it's truly appropriation if it's like something you've heard once and put your own twang on it? Because in essence, that's what's her name, Kylie Jenner, thinks she's doing. She's thinking she's putting her, well, we know she's not, but in her in her mind, she's thinking she's putting her own spin on the way she should look versus solely stealing from a black woman's look with the fuller lips and all the other stuff in her makeup products and stuff like that. So I know it's not her, but I'm speaking in examples of people in other countries who may not truly have access to what we have. What if they just get a hint of it and think they're putting their own twist on it?
I think it's kind of like plagiarism. Like, okay,
Mm.
like no, really, it's kind of like plagiarism. Like, I can't. I can copy and paste the sentence and change the 3 words. If I turn it into like safe assign, it's
Paraphrasing.
you
Yep.
still
Paraphrasing, yeah.
yeah, if I paraphrase it, it's still beep beep beep, you copied this. So it's just like you can
Eternity.com.
you know what I mean? So it's like you can do that, but still, like you still I mean, it is what it is. You can put
Right.
your
And
own
it's kind of
flavor on
like
things, but
don't be surprised when you get that backlash of like, okay, well, or not even backlash, but when you get the chance, because you were saying like, oh, they might not be knowledgeable. Okay, when somebody brings it to your attention, don't act oblivious and like get defensive and kind of be like, no, I did this, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, go ahead. That's where like also appropriation, appreciation, like if you appreciate it, then you can be like, oh, I'm sorry, like I didn't realize that's what I was doing. Then yes, this is what my influence was. But if it is brought to your knowledge and you still try to like defend yourself with the plagiarism, then that's where it's like problematic.
I
We
kind
have
of like that
question.
key word influence, which helps with, okay, I didn't necessarily, appropriate this or take this from you. I was just influenced by it. And that, I think it goes back a lot. That's what we always hear oftentimes. Well, I was influenced by, et cetera, et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. And then I made my own. So I like that word. That was a very key word, influenced.
Can we ask questions? Because I wanted to like
Yes.
ask Saran something off of what she just said. Like you can't get defensive or like it's easy for you to like look up things. So I'm not trying to defend people like when this happens on social media, but a lot of times, like let's say for example, somebody starts wearing big hoop gold earrings that have like their name in it or something, and they start wearing it, and somebody goes, "Oh, you're appropriating my culture," and they're like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know." But they're like, yeah, you could have easily Google searched that or whatever. But like, not saying that it's our responsibility to educate people, but
Mm-hmm.
like,
Hmm.
I feel like it would be kind of like easier for people to understand if we didn't come off on the defense right of way, even
Yeah.
though I know a lot of the times it's not our responsibility to be that for them. But I do see a lot of people are very sensitive to approach when somebody says they're appropriating their culture just because we're automatically on the defense all the time. But that's just like all the stuff we have to deal with on a daily basis, though. So it's like, do we have to kind of educate people on it, or should we just be like, oh, Google's free. You can Google why we are saying you're appropriating our culture.
Well, I think because if we want to be nitpicky about everything, then we really won't get anywhere. So, like, some stuff, like, I would say somebody who did the hoop earring thing with the name in it may not truly have known it was an issue. And maybe they saw it in the store and was like, oh, this is cute. Like, I want to get them for myself. And then think it would be that problematic. I'm saying, like, when that does happen, that when we educate them, then like the person should respond accordingly. Like they shouldn't get offended if we bring it up as like, hey, that's kind of not your thing to be doing. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to,
So, but no, I get that. I get what you're saying, but
I don't
also
know because
to kind of slide back to Erica's point, like,
but I'm
and
saying,
with the
okay,
earrings or the necklace. No, what I'm saying is like with the earrings and necklace, who, and I'm when I say this, who deemed this yours first? You know what I'm saying? I guess that's where I'm also at too.
yeah.
Like,
that's also what
who
I'm asking. Yeah.
who said that was yours first? So when we're talking about, understanding the culture and the history and appropriations, there's some things that are blatantly
Yeah.
owned by one group, but now those ones that are in that silver lining, who said you had that first?
Right.
And
And
I
like
kind of
Taylor
feel
said
like
before, who's to tell someone what they can and cannot do or can and cannot
yeah,
wear? I mean, who made you the police of the big hoop
what to
earrings?
wear.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
So
they want to wear it, I don't necessarily think that's appropriation. I think
yeah,
they're just doing their style. They like that style.
exactly.
Like, but they want to wear, like I said, the purple braids, the big hoop earrings, they might have some self identity issues themselves. Like, we might think that, or they might look a little funny to us because, like we know that it originated kind of like in our group, but I think it's fine. Like, do you, girl? You want to wear your nameplate? all right, well, it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't take anything away from my culture. It doesn't do anything. Like we were
Absolutely.
saying earlier when we were giving the definition of appropriation, I think it's only when it's like my example with the Shea Moisture. Like you're kind of taking away from a group that this is for this group and you're monetizing it, you know what I mean, and getting like clout from it, not necessarily just expressing yourself through style. And because I feel like a lot of times with style and with music and with art and things like that, there's a feeling that's attached to it, not necessarily like trying to be, I don't know,
Yeah.
negative, I
So I
guess.
guess on that, and this will be my last question to kind of close you guys up on the whole thing, and we can be on this for a little bit. But is appropriation, in a sense, a form of stereotype, or not quite racism, but teetering on that line of like a prejudice ideal?
Whoa.
Y'all can chew on that. I know that was a question. Because in a sense, like, I guess, we talk about, black people love fried chicken, and um, like back in the day, chitlins was our idea, and deer sausage. But you got out here, you got some venison. You're selling venison for whatever, but out in the country, that's just deer sausage and whatever. Like, you just eat that normally. But you go to a high class place and it's venison. So is that like appropriating a culture, or is it somewhat stereotypical? Like, are we assuming that black people created fried chicken, or was chicken being fried outside of us? Again, like, these are just like questions just to kind of have y'all thinking on that. Is it an appreciative art? You know,
Okay, what was your go back to your original question?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
can
because
think
was
I
of
was a little
something,
bit.
appropriation
but I forgot
is appropriation
it.
like another form of stereotype?
I think, okay, we can go back because I remember seeing stuff about, I'm talking about like kind of the Asian culture, seeing stuff about this like on social media, like when people buy, I don't know what the dresses are called, but y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Like that silk look with the red and the
Hmm,
gold
hmm.
trimmings look on it. And I know, like, I think in the Asian culture, that's like a ceremonial type dress or something, like for something that's like really held up in their culture. And then when Americans do it for like a costume or something, that could
Mm,
be stereotyping. Like you're taking something that's very like monumental or something in
Hmm.
some one culture and kind of using it not in that sense of like appreciation, like you're having a Chinese New Year or something party, like, and wearing it, but you're just using it as a costume. I think that's like stereotype. And like you can throw in the chopsticks in the hair, like Erica says. I think that's like so some stuff could be stereotyping, but I don't think like the fried chicken thing really, because like fried chicken be, most country singers sing about fried chicken. Like, if you really think about it, like black people really ain't the ones that be rapping about fried chicken. So if we want to be real, but I think in like a costume to certain traditional wearings, that could be stereotyping.
I think that's even how it is for like Native Americans. And I don't know if
Yeah.
this could be controversial because I know a lot of people have gotten in trouble for dressing up as Native Americans and things like that. But just personally, how I feel how it is for Black people, I think it's the same thing for the other cultures. Like, don't be that sensitive. Like, if this person wants to wear this as a costume, okay, it's a free country. People are freely able to wear what they want to wear as long as they're not like, I don't know, being rude or trying to like talk outside their accent or being disrespectful to it. Clearly, in my opinion, they think it's pretty or they liked it. They wanted to put the paint on their face. They wanted to wear the chopsticks. They liked the red silk. They just like it. So why are you being so offended and so sensitive towards it? Like just live your life and let them live theirs
you got anything to
personally.
add on to
I
that, Mom?
Well, I was kind of pondering over how you were saying this about stereotypical and prejudice and stuff like that, and the girls, and with what they were saying about changing some of the outfits or wearing the outfit as a costume. Again, generations I am with with what they just said, now let's take a costume, because we've just recently had some issues about this. Someone putting on I'm going to use like a KKK costume, or
Mm,
painting with the black face paintings and stuff like that. And, you know, you spoke on, is that stereotypical? Hmm, pretty much so. Or is that maybe you saying something prejudiced? Whether you meant it in that way, those two things that I
right.
just named, and I'm sure there's more,
Perception.
Hmm.
definitely gives the perception. And if I perceive it, it must be real.
Mm,
Yeah, I
So,
can see that, especially with like blackface. I just think there's a fine line with it. Like,
yeah.
it's one thing to
Well,
do a costume, and it's
definitely.
another thing to do like to paint
Yes.
yourself something. Or like Rachel, what was her name? Rachel Dolitzer,
Yes.
who
Also,
just
something like that.
who just completely pretended to be black. No, that's kind of ridiculous. Like, that's definitely appropriation.
Well, this, I don't know. Now, with, everything. Well, no, I don't. We're not. That's a different topic. I won't go there with this one. We'll wait on this one. Yeah. But
Oh,
about, like I was just saying, I listened to what you all were saying about the costumes, and I do understand what you're saying. But his original question was something about stereotypical, or do you view this as prejudice of some sort? And that is why I wanted to liken that to both of your answers, because both of your answers were great with that part of it. But when you look at it in a different type of connotation, and in those two examples I used, well, that kind of brings it back into somewhat of what his question was: is this something prejudice or stereotypical? And definitely, the KKK white cone hat, or whatever that is that they wear, and the painting in blackface is definitely something that is possibly perceived to be very
mm.
negative and
You
a
don't even have to go that
stereotypical.
deep because,
Exactly.
like y'all said, it just happened. Like the Washington Commanders are the Commanders
Right.
now. Like before,
Mm-hmm.
it was like Redskins, and the world was cool with that, right? Like it was Redskins. We could go to Halloween parties, dress up as a nice little Native American group of people. It was cool because it was like the Indian, the cowboy, like everything was all
gotcha.
fun and games. But outside of the Seminoles in Florida, who literally had a contracted alliance with the Seminole tribe in Florida, other than them, every other mascot, every other thing that was deemed around that, you know, Native Americans had huge problems with and still do to this day. Like, I think the Redskins might be the only ones that have conformed out of every professional team that they've tried to bring it up towards and college teams. So, again, it's like she said, it's always about perception. And I think that's why appreciation and appropriation is such a hard topic, right? Because each one of y'all spoke on it about
Mm-hmm.
the Black community. No, every community has appropriation, has their own feel to it, but the Black community has so much more like historical traumas with their stuff. And that's not to exclude any other culture's trauma. I'm just speaking from what I know and what I've lived and
Mm-hmm.
what I've been told here in America. I don't know what other people's traumas are, but you know historically we feel that way. So anytime you think of the word appropriation, America thinks of the word appropriation, they automatically be like, oh, what are those Black folks mad about again? Oh, they're always up to Black Twitter is always, what I'm saying? Like anytime something happens on the media, Black Twitter takes off and it's like so where's that line where Eminem being a rapper and dressing, he's invited to the cookout, but Jack Harlow, you're not quite there yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, when do you start appreciating or like appropriating the different fine lines there, and you know who can do it and who can't do it? Again, that's like a more in-depth conversation on the thing, but that's kind of something I just wanted to kind of get on and harp on with you all. So, if you
Erica,
guys
did
have
you
any
have
other,
something to say? I know we cut you off a while ago.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the way that I had viewed like appropriation and like stereotypes together is when like people are like treading lightly. So let's say, for example, somebody's like, dear Black community, is it okay if I can wear a bonnet because my hair is like breaking off and I need to wear one or something? Or is it okay if I do my edges like this or my baby hairs like this? And I'm like, the only way I can see that as being a stereotype is that like not all Black people wear bonnets, not all Black people do their edges.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, that's the only way I view appropriation going with stereotypes.
Word.
That's a good one too. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of wrapping up. We're kind of concluding. If you guys have any other last things to say on the topic, I've really enjoyed having you guys' perspective. Again, I kind of wanted to switch the show up so people weren't just hearing me all the time. Y'all could hear, some more people that are out there and influencers of the show as well. If you guys have anything else, let me know. Yes. Nope. Other than that, we're just gonna. That's good. Awesome. So we're gonna start wrapping it up, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you, audience, for listening to us. Thank you, Taylor and Erica, for being guests on our show. Hopefully we could get you back again one day, but I know you guys are avid listeners, so we appreciate your support there. Mom, thanks for making your debut. Maybe we can get you back often. You dropped some bars there. And then other than that, we always end our show the way we always do. What, you guys?
I
left
was here
you out
too. I was
hey,
here too.
bro, you're a co-host. Like, come on, Angela Yee. This is the Breakfast Club. Don't get hurt. All right, but as we end our show, as always, with the Serenity Prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And with that, 2 fingers, peace and love. 2 fingers, 2 up, 2 down. 2 fingers, deuces, we out. Thank you, everybody.
How much longer will this linger? Stacking problems like Jenga. Issues pierce life with stingers. And I'm out. 2 fingers.